Are there any downsides?
There was no obvious downside of women being educated. After all, many of the smartest people in the world today are women, and the percentage of households relying on the female as the primary breadwinner has increased. However, there was a downside to divorce. Namely, there began to be a growing number of orphans. This was because if the husband got his wife pregnant but didn't want a child, he could leave her to care for it all on her own or give it away. The problem with keeping the child was that this meant getting a job, which, as I mentioned before, was strongly discouraged.
Your visit has been very enlightening, Mr. Simpson. Goodness knows what the world would be like without your anesthetics. Had the Catholic Church remained as strict as it was before the Reformation, you would not have been tolerated for your so-called anti-biblical views. We are very lucky to have our next guest, the current head of the Catholic Church, Pope Benedict XVI. So, Pope Benedict XVI, what was the most lasting effect of the Reformation?
The Reformation affected religion in the way that Christian unity wasn't restored even after the Counter-Reformation. The Reformation allowed the freedom to worship and pursue God in the way each individual saw fit for him or herself, without the interference of a huge bureaucratic church capable of controlling and influencing every area of life. For example, Protestantism was created through an effort to reform Catholicism. Thus, many things differ between these two religions. Religion overall was transformed as a result of the Reformation. The Baltic provinces became Lutheran, while the Grand Duchy of Lithuania remained Roman Catholic. In the years following the Reformation, other religions were also formed. For example, Pietism formed.
What is Pietism?
Pietism is a general term used to describe the trends in the church stressing an individual relationship with God. As I was saying, the Moravian Brethren was created in the 1700s, Calvinism began in the 1500s, and grew as a religion in the later centuries.
What are some ways that Protestantism is different from Catholicism?
For example, Protestantism believes that all believers have equal access to God, where in Catholicism, priesthood is necessary because only priests can perform the sacraments. Furthermore, Protestantism believes in predestination, the fact that everyone is predestined to their fate and human action avails to nothing. However, in Catholicism, God's omnipotence does not restrict human will, and each individual is still responsible for earning their own salvation.
In most cases, the Reformation is seen as a good thing, but did it cause anything bad to happen?
The Reformation also caused religious wars, such as the 30 Years' War in Germany and the English Civil War in England. The major impact of the 30 Years' War was the extensive destruction of entire regions, especially in Germany. The population of the German states was reduced by about 30%. In some areas, about 2/3 of the population died. The Swedish armies alone destroyed 2,000 castles, 18,000 villages, and 1,500 towns in Germany. Furthermore, episodes of famine and diseases significantly decreased the German population. The English Civil War took place in the 1640s. It was caused by the fact that James recalled Parliament in 1621 to discuss the future marriage of his son Charles to a Spanish princess. Parliament was outraged because if such a marriage occurred, would the children be brought up as Catholics? Spain was still not considered a friendly nation to England at the time, and many still remembered that in 1588 the Spanish Armada attack. The marriage never took place, but the damaged relationship between king and parliament was never mended by the time James died in 1625. Is that all?
Yeah, do you think we should do it again?
Is that all?
Thank you for your visit and your very informative opinions on this influential time in history. Many changes occurred in religion, which led to a more open mentality regarding freedom of belief. The next visitor is here to talk about the social aspects that changed as a result of the Reformation. For what better source than a sociology professor? He will specifically be telling about how the role of women was affected.